Hi, we are going to talk today about the importance of your parallel tracks from your feet to your hips and why it matters. I know you've been listening to me tell you over and over again, parallel feet, toes parallel, get your knees over your ankles and your hips over your knees. Here's why. I'm going to stand up to show you. When you are standing with your feet genuinely internally rotated, in line with your knees, in line with your hips, what you're actually doing is you're stacking your joints to be kind of in a fluid line with each other. You're lining up muscles that are around those joints and designed to support those joints to do their job. Everything in your body wants to do the job it was made for. You just need to set up the conditions for it and retrain it to do it. It'll jump on board. It'll be ready to go, okay? So that's what we're doing with setting up these parallel tracks. We're getting everything lined up so it can jump on board with us and start training, okay? So we're gonna start by just looking at how it is that you orient your foot and your knee and your hip and how they reflect and mirror each other, okay? This is called internal and external rotation. We do it a lot on the ball, right, when we're doing the heel back and forth. So I just want you to kind of like shift back into one leg for a minute. You can drop back into your left leg and you can look at the right leg. You can turn just the toes out. And it's kind of, I felt that twist my knee right away. Nothing has changed up here. Okay, the top of your thigh bone is a ball essentially on the end of it, and it's like a ball stuck up into your hip socket. So you can take on this visual of, we want to take that ball and rotate it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Nothing else has to change when that is happening. I don't have to twist my hips. My knee and my ankle go for the ride. The origin of movement is being drawn up into the center of my body. Remember that when your core gets compromised, the origin of movement, where your body reactively goes to for strength, travels to the extremities. That's why your knees hurt. It's why your calves are tight all the time. It's why your wrists are hurting and your elbows are sore and your neck and shoulders are sore. All of this strength has gone to those poles. We want to bring it back up. Okay, so the orientation of the leg inside of the hip socket is huge, especially when we're strength training, when we're doing something like a big lunge and we're asking big muscle groups to turn on in a dynamic movement. We need to know where our thighs are in relationship to our hips and our pelvis so that they can talk to each other, right? So in order to find that, we're actually going to lie down on the roller and do something with the legs. So go ahead and have a seat. You can just watch if you haven't gotten your roller yet. You're gonna roll through your side, come on down to your back, and I'm gonna bring that roller up underneath me. I'm gonna lift my hips and draw the roller right up underneath the back of my pelvis. So I'm in essentially my squat position. I'm gonna drop my pubic bone down. I'm gonna relax my shoulder blades, bring my ribs down. Now I'm gonna keep my right foot planted on the ground. I want you to use your visual cues and see, is the foot actually in line with the knee, or is it something like this? Okay, this is very common. This is an extreme version, but this is very common. Get it all lined up so that we are not twisting the pelvis. We want to keep the pelvis even and heavy on the roller. I want you to feel that your waist can cinch up around and above those bones. And then when I lift my left knee into my chest, nothing changed. I didn't twist, the pubic bone didn't jack up. I'm leaving everything really steady. I'm setting up my parallel tracks, okay? From there, I want you to turn on the belly, drop the shoulder blades, and then you're going to slowly start to extend the leg. So we're gonna get into a hamstring stretch here. I want you to feel almost like I put a brick on your foot and you're trying to push it to the ceiling. What you're gonna get into is that your quadriceps are responsible for activating. They need to make a muscle in order to stretch your hamstrings. Otherwise, you just get into pulling on your hamstrings. But when your quadriceps are part of the equation, remember you always want strength against a flexibility, against a stretch, right? You can start to feel that the leg is actually part of something higher up. It's part of the hip, it's part of the butt, it's definitely part of the waist. This is the real cue, is that we want this leg getting its power from your abdominal muscles and from your butt. So whatever length can happen in the leg right now, whether it's fully straight or not, I want you to feel like you're engaging your thigh muscle and pushing the leg up. You've got an even pelvis, use your hands, use your eyes, and now with a nice strong flex and a strong leg, I want you to turn the thigh bone to the left, turn it to the right. To the left, opening it, this is external rotation. To the inside is internal rotation. Internal is going to be harder, okay? Particularly with a compromised pelvic floor. all the way in, all the way in, all the way in. We are turning on and activating your rotators, these muscles that wrap around the top of your thigh bone up underneath your butt, right? They're a hugely important muscle group. They're part of your core stability. Release out of that. It's a lot of brain work. Relax down like all the rest of this. Cinch yourself on up, plant down into your left foot, gather the waist, shoulder blades down, draw the right leg up. Nothing has twisted. I'm nice and even. I'm basically in a plank pose on my back, and then I'm gonna flex that foot up. Give it a couple times, turn on the waist, turn on the core, turn on your thigh muscles, and just feel around, like what's happening in the back of my thigh. Might be tight, might not. Feel around. Good. As you lift up, you're going to push that imaginary brick up to the ceiling, pull the belly button down, anchor the ribs, find power in the leg, and then external and internal rotation. Nothing else is moving. My hips aren't twisting. I still have even weight on both sides of my hips. I'm turning. It's like I imagine almost like screwing my thigh bone into my hip. Good. And then down into the roller. One more time. This is a really powerful practice, especially if you have SIJ dysfunction, like sacroiliac joint pain and nerviness. This can be really great for that. You're creating stability underneath that joint, okay? And release both feet down. Take a moment, lift your hips, take the roller out and away, roll through your side, and come on up. So that's internal and external rotation. Try it out the next time you're in a lunge and in a squat.